Hey guys, it's me, Ruowen Huang. It's been a while since my last broadcast because I got friends visit and then I like to keep my schedule open. So anyway, it's been a while, but today I'm gonna try to answer a question some people leave on my Facebook. So they want to know the difference between the cherishing, when you're cherishing something, or is it the fear of, deprivation? I kind of had to Google this word. I think that's what it is. Not really of liking, but you just feel like it's being deprived. Your right or your feelings being deprived. So anyway, before I start, let me introduce myself. My name is Ruowen Huang. I'm an author, spirit coach, and also a psychic. For me, those two words, they almost look the same. You know how you have like tons of clothes and then you keep thinking like, oh, maybe I will have it one day, or you store a lot of things. It's almost like a holding, you know what I mean? Because you always have that, I will use it one day. Like most of us do it in very subtle way, but in this society, there are people who have less control, so eventually become a holding. So that's why I thought, since it's such a common situation, that's why I would try to share with you guys my perspective of, the cherishment. Like, do we really care and, like that something, or is it because we have the fear that within us? You guys must all know when it comes to fear, right? The fear is a feeling that very often stops you from giving or, letting go of things and things. We all know how it feels like. If I can describe very specifically, it's almost like a rubber band, You will have that feeling in you, like it seems to always pulling you back or always make you afraid or scared to do certain things, right? So what I hear, the reason I bring it up to let you guys being kind of aware of that is, when you really cherish something, you very often think from the perspective of what is good for that thing. You know what I mean? Like what can be the better, or what is good for that thing, whether that's a thing or it's a person or whatever. You don't usually worry about what if they're gonna leave me, what if they're gonna abandon me, or what if I let it go. Because when you cherish something, all you want is the best out of that thing, what is best for them, right? Even sometimes that mean you're gonna have to let go of that something because you've been neglecting, you're not using it, let's say for clothes, for wise. If I really cherish something, I only want that thing. What I only think about from the angle what is best for them. Sometimes that means I will have to let it go. When I have fear, what happens is I think about what it would be like for me. It's not for them. So your attitude will actually change. When you have fear surrounding things, you very often start with me, because what is in your mind is always say, what about me? What about me? You know what I mean? So if your mind, when you're looking at something and you realize your thinking angle is actually starting from what about me? What about one day? What if one day I need it? What if, what if I'm gonna feel sad? What if? So when you start from that aspect, what it is very often you are speaking from the position of fear, because you worry about you. You don't really think about the best of the others, right? Because that's the best way I can describe it vertically for you guys. As if you really cherish something, you start the angle, what is the best for them? If you started from the angle of fear, you start the question with, what about me? What's gonna happen to me if I don't have them? What am I going to feel? Am I gonna feel lost? Am I gonna feel sad? Right? Because it would be about you. Why? Because as I said, described it earlier, the fear is type of energy seems always pulling you back, right? So if think of that angle, and then therefore will pull you back to make the decision of letting go or and all that. So to give you a little bit, just add on top of it, not really giving you a more clear definition, to add on top of it. Recently, I read an article. It's in Chinese, but I wish I can share with you guys. It's basically saying when you have the habit of holding, it doesn't matter it's great scale, small scale. Holding, it means you tend to get things, accumulate things that's more than what you need. So if you have a tendency of holding, that usually is a symbolize you have, you are depriving, that part of you feel deprived. You know what I mean? So therefore, you have the need to hold it. So it was very interesting for me to discover this article because I myself, not as obvious as every, puppy holder you call, I did notice I have this thing about holding. I like to hold food. I like to call hold food. I mean, I like to buy more than I can eat, right? For longest time, I give myself an excuse like, oh, I because I have party all the time and I like to make sure I always have food. And then, I want to make sure I don't always have to worry about food. Therefore, my fridge is always full of food, right? So that's the little part of me. When it comes to food, I tend to hold. That means I tend to buy more than I need, right? So my definition to it is because my mom used to be like that. So therefore, I'm carrying forward her habit, right? Also, another thing I have is I like to buy jacket. Not so much clothes, but I'm this crazy jacket holder. Like people who follow my blog would know, I would like different jacket. I mean, really, how many jackets does one need, right? I like to buy jackets. So for me, it comes to my awareness, I tend to buy more than I can eat. But I give myself excuse. I got kids to feed, husband to feed, friends to feed. And then I tend to buy jacket, right? So because of this article, or also because the process my mind is going through, because recently my mind is trying to simplify things, right? So it kind of pushed me to start looking into this. What it is that was missing, if this article was correct, right? One person who tend to hold thing, that means they have deprivation in their life, some area. That's why it simply reflect that. So based on the article, I start looking into my life and try to figure out what it is that missing that made me always holding food and always holding jacket, right? I start to realize it is true. There's a lot to do with my childhood. As some of you might already know, my childhood, going through a lot, feeling sense of abandoned, and then spend majority of time in the hospital or at home, and then doesn't really have that social, interaction with people, or being physically, mentally, abused in a lot of way. So I guess as a kid growing up like that, I was basically telling my friend, what am I really missing is that warm and safe. My essential need was not being met. You know what I mean? I wasn't fed and I was not warm. I don't feel warm. Therefore, I'm subconsciously, continuously to make sure I would never be starved. And then I'm always warm. That's why I'm always buying things that would make me warm, right? Therefore, in my perception, in my definition, that is jacket. So when you start to looking at that, I start to also realize there is a lot of mental work that require for you to get yourself out of it. As I say, for any spiritual journey, the best to do is awareness. Once you start having awareness, then you actually have something to work on. If you don't have awareness, you come into this, most of people would defend, like, I don't have that problem. That's not my problem. Of course, you will have nothing to work on. What I'm really encouraging you is, I discover I have this part of area that I need to look into, right? If you tend to see you have some kind of holding, which it can be anything. You don't have to, when people call us holder, we kind of get defensive about it. What I'm simply encourage you to do is look into your area and then look into what area you feeling deprived, like you tend to get more love. I mean, you tend to accumulate. It can be sport equipment, or it can be, I don't know, gadget, or it can be, anything. And then when you find out that, start to look into what it is that you feel deprived in your life. That's why you are accumulated. If you're not sure what area it is, look into how you feel when you got this thing in your hand. You know what I mean? For me, when I buy jacket, I feel very warm. I feel I'm protective and I feel warm. So therefore, I will ask myself question, did I feel I don't have that? I didn't have that when I was a kid. As I say, a lot of things hidden in your childhood. So look into your childhood, really dig inside. This is going to be a test that you have to work within yourself. I mean, you don't really have to share with other people, right? We don't like to share our dark side with people, but really ask yourself, did I feel deprived? That's why I'm now doing this. You know what I mean? Like, why do I always need to buy food to store in my house? Right? Really, honest with you guys, the food in my house, I can literally feed myself, my whole family for months. I don't have to go out, but and I only live half a block, 1 block away from the Safeway, okay? So I will have to start asking myself, why do I have a tendency like that? When I start discover what it is that I was missing or I feel deprived in my life, and then I'm trying to make up to it, then that's the time referred to the previous episode. It's a time for you to really have a conversation with your inner child, right? For me, I can only use me as an example. Example is, I will start telling myself, I don't need to worry about it right now, right? I will be fed and I will be warm because I'm no longer that 5-year-old child anymore. I no longer is that child that have to, be in the hospital, no one visit, or, being physically, because I myself can protect myself. I would never have to feel my life's being deprived because I in the position that I know how to take care of myself now. So I'm not saying it's going to be quick. It's actually going to be a long journey. Like, just, if you want to know how long it is, it takes literally one drawer a week or 2 drawers a week for me to say, I don't need this anymore. I have to learn to let it go. I have to learn to let it go because each thing I let go of, I'm having a mental conversation with myself, say, I am well and protected now, right? I don't need this item to make me feel safe. I don't need this to make me feel protected because I am capable to do so. Of course, not like here to ask you to let go of everything, how realistic is it, right? But what I'm saying is we all know there are things that we don't touch for like years. Like, probably those clothes that you store there, like for 5 years, you never touch it and only thinking about what if. See, if we hold on to our past, we never move on, right? So this is the time you should probably have a conversation with yourself and ask yourself, what does it really represent in your life? Which area in your life that you feel deprived? That's why you're trying to buy something to make up for like deprivation. You know what I mean? So as I say, it applies to all area. It not necessarily mean, everything. I'm pretty sure I'm not a crazy hoarder. You come to my house, you will never categorize me as a hoarder, but we all have that part of us, like we accumulate something like other people may or may not know. What I'm here to simply encourage you is look into that and then figure out what it is so you can have awareness. Once you gain awareness, you can then work within yourself and have a conversation with yourself, right? No matter how long it would take for you to slowly let go of things that you hardly touched for 5 years, doesn't matter. At least you are having a conversation within yourself. And that conversation is going to help you grow and evolve into a better soul because you're no longer living in fear and you will truly got to understand what it's like to cherish something. When you really cherish something, practice that attitude, you will eventually know how to cherish yourself. So anyway, just a little thought that I thought I'd share with you all. And again, if you like what I'm doing, you can always join me live on Facebook or go to subscribe my YouTube channel or my website ruowen.com. Till then, I see you guys next time. Bye!